Hey, what's up guys? It's your boy Big Glizzy, back with another Dark Souls 3 video, and today we're going to be seeing if we can beat Dark Souls 3 only using our shield. Now, I've literally never used a shield to fight before in this game, and I honestly didn't even know you could, but it actually does a pretty decent amount of damage against these regular enemies, and in fact, I felt so confident with the damage I was doing that I decided I was going to go take out the Crystal Lizard. It did not work out. So instead, I decided I would just head straight for the boss instead, and this is probably the 20th time in my life that I've beat this boss.
How many times do we have to teach you this lesson, old man?
I love the young people.
And with that in mind, you would think I'd be a professional at this fight by now, but nope, I died, and died again, but mostly because I was trying to parry him most of the time in the first phase, but that really did not work out. So instead of trying to fight him like a boss, I decided to just fight him like a regular person, and I just held up my shield the whole time and just circled to his right, and he pretty much misses 90% of the time, so that strategy worked out a lot more, and I was able to beat him the first try doing this. And it was very fergalicious, if I do say so myself. 3 out of 10. Speaking of trees, you know we gotta do that tree skip so we can get the Estus Shard and the ring that gives you more souls. But after that, we make our way through the level like normal, and we Usain Bolt past all the enemies, grabbing some Titanite shards and other important items until I stumble on a new shield, and it does seem to have better damage than the one I currently have, so I switched to it for a bit, but then I accidentally upgraded the wrong shield, so whoops, looks like we're back to the other one. Next, I killed one of the mimic chests to see if it had a shield in him, but nope, he just mooed at me and gave me an axe. After that, we make our way to the second boss, but first, I need to free Grey Rat while the hash-slinging slasher is trying to kill me the entire time. Now, I'm not trying to save him because I need him for this run or anything, but only because I have so much respect for the man for helping me so much in my bow-only run that I refuse to let him rot away in this cell. Then I spot the juiciest looking shield on one of these knights, and I tried to kill him to try to get one of his shields, but instead he almost killed me, so I said screw that and just headed into the boss fight, and what the fuck, a 1972 Ford Pinto. But I only had a fart of health left thanks to that knight, so I didn't expect to last very long, but somehow I made it to the second phase, so that was a very good sign. But we come back with full health this time, and the first phase is super easy. We literally get through it just by standing under him the entire time, smacking that dick and holding up our shield when we're not doing anything. And it's pretty much a free ride to the second phase, but once we do get to the second phase, it does get a lot harder, but you can still kind of stand under him a lot of the times getting in some hits, but once he does his dash attack, that's when you need to get away. My favorite thing about this boss is his freeze attack, because he literally charges it up for so long, and he does it for so long that that's your chance to get in a bunch of free hits no matter what kind of build you're doing. Another 3 out of 10. My man is absolutely tripping balls right now. After that, I run around grabbing some items until a familiar scene happens. Eventually, we make it over to the next little mini-boss, and I was feeling a little tired due to getting destroyed by these rats over and over again, so I decided to let the old Onion Knight take care of this one for me. But unfortunately for him, I noticed that he had a very pointy shield, and as you can see, my shield has no points, and that's a problem. This shit. Pointy. This thing can definitely remove some foreskin, but first we have to grab Flynn's ring for some extra damage, and then we grab the chloroform ring to kidnap unsuspecting women. But first, we test out my new pointy shield on this fella, and he could not stand the pointiness. After that, we search around the Crucifixion Woods for a while until we find the Grass Crest shield, which is a shield we end up using for the entire rest of the run. Not because it's good for attacking or anything, but it raises your stamina recovery speed, so that's very useful. And then we get to the Crystal Sage, which was pretty easy at first. The first phase was super easy, you just run up to him, give him the ex-wife special, smack him around a few times until the second phase. And the second phase is no different, you just run up to him, smack him around until he disappears, except this time if you mess up, you die. So basically I was just trying to scan the whole arena until I saw that little purple light and just run towards that one before all the other ones started shooting me, except 99% of the time it didn't work out when I would get hit, punch my dog in the face, and then come back. Honestly, I don't know why I had such trouble with this fight. It's honestly one of the easiest fights in the game, but I think I'm just unlucky, which is probably why I didn't win that Zack and Cody Danimal sweepstakes, and if I would have, things might be different right now, and I wouldn't have to make YouTube videos torturing myself. 6 out of 10.
Fell from the oldest trick in the book.
Next we head to the cathedral, and for some reason there's a homeless man sleeping in the church. I hate these freaking worms.
This is fine. I'm okay with the events that are unfolding currently.
This is honestly the first time I've noticed that your shield can actually block attacks in the middle of your own attacks, so that's actually pretty neat. But eventually we make it to the demons, but I realized I was doing absolute dog shit damage, and I kept knocking this fat bitch over and I couldn't hurt him, so I just decided to come back later. So instead, I just run around the absolute best area in the game, grabbing some shards and taking out the gay demon real quick. But then we head for the Abyss Watchers, and would you believe me if I told you I beat them on my first try? Well, you shouldn't, because I'm a fucking liar. But honestly, it didn't take as long as I thought it was going to. I was very surprised by how much damage it does, but the range on it is just what makes it so freaking trash. But the first phase is easy enough. I would just try to get in a couple hits and let the Red Eye Abyss Watcher do most of the work while I try to just pussyfoot around him a little bit. But the second phase was actually pretty tough. One thing I was surprised about is he actually does get staggered by your shield attacks pretty often. So when you're attacking and he hits your shield, that'll stagger him, and that kind of shocked me. But after a few attempts, I was able to fight him pretty much like normal, except you need to get really close, and I went for a very risky final hit, but was blessed by Miyazaki himself, and it actually worked out. 4 out of 10. And you know, this challenge isn't really as hard as I thought it was going to be, but these videos aren't really about how hard it is. It's more about
the Mets, baby, love the Mets. All right, baby, let's go get a home run, baby, love the Mets.
And after that, we just head straight towards the catacombs, but skeletons are hella spooky, so I just run straight past them until we get to Smoldering Lake. But first, we get invaded, but I honestly cannot be bothered to fight him normally, so I just use my sheer mental power and just think about his death until it is so. But then we cut down the ladder and then kill this spicy boy in a totally fair and legit way. And then God himself strikes me down for watching furry porn. And after that, we find a new shield called the Shield of Want, but more like Shield of I want to be done with this run. Then we turn off this abomination, and then we're drowning in the large titanite shards. And yeah, this worm scares the shit out of me, so I tried to make the Night Slayer that I killed earlier take him out for me, but that didn't work out at all. So instead, I just tried the old Demon King, and yeah, that didn't work out that well at first either, but we try a few more times, and it's pretty much just stay near his dick and balls the entire time, just smacking away, and it's pretty easy to avoid most of his attacks if you just stay under him until eventually you get to his explosion attack at the end, and you get stuck on the inside, so you punch your dog in the face again, but you come back, try again, and we get it the next time. 4 out of 10. But after that, I finally feel confident enough to go take out the Deacons, and it's freaking great because instead of taking like 4 or 5 hits to kill one of them, it only takes 2 now, so that makes it much more doable, and I was actually able to take them out first try. 2 out of 10. And immediately after that, I decided to summon my inner lumberjack and go take out the rotten greatwood, and as expected, it was very easy. I was able to do it first try with like 5 S's left. Easy peasy G-easy. 2 out of 10. And immediately after that, we go take on this Skull Cup that tries to impress me with his 6 smoke tricks, but it has 0 effect on me. I whoop his ass anyway, first try. Second try. Take that, you damn spooky skeleton. No more scaring kids and adults with perfectly rational fears of the undead. 1 out of 10. But unfortunately, that's the end of the easy half of the game because now we get to head to Ithrio Valley. But first, we have to take out this cute little guy in a totally fair and legit way. And after that, we haul ass past these guys, open some shortcuts, grab some stuff that'll be important for later, and immediately get our ass kicked by the next boss. But then we come back fresh as a daisy, and the first phase is basically just parry city, just parry, and then you're on to the second phase. And the second phase is very similar to the first phase because I was just waiting for the jump attack the whole time, but now instead of parrying, I just roll and then hit and then run away. And you basically just do that again and again and try to avoid getting hit the entire time. And this is definitely one of the hardest fights so far. Probably the hardest fight so far. 7 out of 10. But there's definitely still some harder fights to come. And now we're on a mission to get some more chunks, so I had to try to kill the dancer, and this happened and I about lost my goddamn mind, so that was a huge mistake. So instead I head for Aldrich, but first we gotta take out this jabroni just because I can, and oh shit, I forgot curse was a thing, never mind. But now we make it to Aldrich, and he is not too bad. I've done this enough times that I know the easiest way in this fight is just to get really close to him the entire time. Even in the first phase, just run up on him, hit him a few times, avoid his easy to avoid attacks, and then he'll disappear, and then you just chase after him again. But I hate the second phase only because of the arrow attack that he does, which is almost impossible for me to avoid because I am trash at this game. But if you stay close in the second phase, as soon as he spawns, just run up on him. He will almost never do the arrow attack, and luckily I was 1 hit away from death at the end, and I said screw it, charged him anyway because I messed up, but it worked out, thank God. So now we head back to the dancer, and I get hit by this asshole and die, and then I get hit by this asshole again and die again, but then I finally get there without getting hit, and the first phase is pretty easy. You just have to get extremely close. But for some reason, I've always kind of noticed in the first phase, the dancer is always pretty passive, and I'm not really sure why. She kind of just sits there and lets you hit her sometimes, but the first phase is still pretty easy. You just stay to that booty, keep smacking away, and then the second phase, I don't even know. I never really had a real strategy. I would literally just dodge when I felt like I needed to and hit when I felt like I could and just run away. I honestly felt like I just got really lucky, but not after a few agonizingly close deaths. But eventually we stomped that puss boy into the ground. Sir, your statue is leaking. But before we head to the next boss, I need to kill that worm back at Smoldering Lake because he gives you an undead bone shard, and sadly I cannot summon my friend to do it this time, so I just go at it lone wolf style. And good thing that this fight was actually really easy because for some reason he's only programmed to fight you one way, it seems. So if you just stay back here, it's a piece of cake. But then we get the bone shard, and we're not actually going to use it this time to upgrade our bonfire. We're actually going to use it to get the best damn shield in the whole game. It's heavier. Its stats are lower in every single category imaginable. I had to waste a very valuable item to get it, but it looks like a pig. So after that, we scour the lands for some more titanite shards, and we upgrade our pig shield, our peeled, our shig, I don't know, whatever. But now we get to go test it out on Oceiros, and I don't know if it's just the power of the raw pig, but I was easily able to beat this boss. And this was one of the hardest bosses in my bow only run, but this time it was just so easy. The first phase is always pretty easy to get through. He has some simple attacks to dodge, and I just dodged and attacked for a little while until he goes into his second phase. And in its entire second phase, I just held up my shield, slowly walked towards him to get as close as I could to that ass and start swinging on him. And one of my least favorite moves in this game, besides the arrow attack from Aldrich, is the charge attack that Oceiros does, because it literally comes out of nowhere. But if you hold up your shield, you can actually take the brunt of the force and get a couple hits in yourself. 3 out of 10. But now that we got the Path of the Dragon emote, we could head to the Archdragon Peak to collect some chunks. But before we do that, we try to take on Gundyr again. But first, I gotta take on this Dark Spirit. And I wanted to see if I can trick him into rolling off, and it was shockingly easy. Like, that man had no sense of preservation. But we get the chunks we're looking for, upgrade the shield, and we head back to Gundyr. And we tried the old circle technique like we did in the first fight, but that did not work out so well. So we tried the old parry technique, and that did work out very well. But I immediately died in the second phase like 10 times, so I headed somewhere else for now. And next we take out the dragon hand, but not the sludge monster because Curse still scares me. But then we quickly make our way to the Dragon Slayer armor, and who would win? A man with a 6-inch thick set of armor with a shield bigger than my house? Or one naked piggy boy? It was me. I actually managed to almost beat him on my first try, even without an ember, but he still got the best of me. But eventually, on our second try, I came back with an ember and a chub and some confidence, and I was able to beat him pretty easily. Nothing special about this fight, just fight him like regular, except you need to get really close like all the other bosses. 5 out of 10.
Damn right, show him, pig.
After that, I tried to go into Lothar Castle, but then I realized I forgot to kill Yhorm, and it's probably because I've been avoiding this fight because, oh man, does a 15-minute fight with a shield not sound very fun at all. So to prepare for the fight, I decided to go to get the Sun Princess ring, which will heal me over time, which it's not really a lot, but it might come in handy since it's going to be a pretty long fight. And the Yhorm fight is about exactly what you think it would be. It's about 15 to 20 minutes of me running around, smacking them cute little feet, trying not to suck on them toes. But eventually, after about 10 minutes, this happened, and I about committed some war crimes against Australia. But for once, the strategy in the first and second phase are basically both exactly the same. Just circle around his beautiful feet, chill, don't attack him when he's attacking, and just keep hitting him. I got in a pretty good pattern of just circling around his feet, getting 2 or 3 hits in, waiting for him to attack, getting into his front, making him do another attack, hitting him again, and just doing that over and over and over. So yeah, this fight wasn't super hard or anything. It was actually kind of easy, but just for the length alone, I gotta give it a 6 out of 10. So after that resounding success, I reward myself with a nice dip in the cum bath.
This is for making me do Mom's laundry!
They say it's better to come in the sink than to sink in the cum, but I disagree. After that, something died that was worth 16,000 souls. I have no fucking clue what that was. But we make our way to the Twin Princes, and this has always been one of the hardest fights for me, and it was no different in this run. The first phase is basically me just sticking to them cheeks, grabbing them once, and then rolling away, and repeat that over and over until you get to the second phase.
The way I see him, like he got a big booty. Like that's part of the reason I wanted to fight him. He's thick. Like he's super thick. I wanted to grip them cheeks low-key when I first saw them.
But we get to the second phase, and it's very similar to the first phase, but now you got 2 sets of booty cheeks to grab onto. I had a lot of trouble with this fight, so I did have to put some armor on because I'm a little bitch boy, and then this happened, and I shed one single little manly tear.
There's no reason to live.
But we come back again, beat the shit out of this dude and his crippled little brother, and we move on to the easiest boss fight in the game. Because all you have to do is just run around the dragon, get up here, get smacked around a little bit, and then do the plunging attack.
The plunging attack is the most reliable move in the game.
Okay, so this is like the first time I've ever had to do this fight in the non-proper way, other than with a bow last time, but that way is pretty easy, obviously. So I did have to try to figure out a different way to kill him on the ground, and it did take a pretty long time, honestly, but I did figure out if you just stand over here on these steps to the right and just stand up to the far left corner, you could actually just keep hitting him in the neck and just avoid his attacks pretty easily. He did catch me with his flame breath every once in a while because he kind of sweeps across the whole stairs, and you have to run up to the left very fast to avoid that attack. But other than that, it is pretty easy. It probably takes just as long as the Yhorm fight, though, and it's probably just about the same difficulty. But I did die once, but that's because I was trying to put the Sun Princess ring on so I could heal during the fight, and he killed me during that, so that was pretty sad. But we were able to come back and kill him the second time. 6 out of 10. And now we finally make it to the Nameless King, and this guy friggin' sucks no matter what I use to fight him. It did take me a good while to remember how to do it, but the first phase gets pretty easy after a while. He does only have a few different kind of moves, and a lot of them will leave him with some big openings that you can just come in and punish him on. But that's not the hard part. The hard part is the second phase, and I just could not do it. I kept getting my ass kicked over and over. I never even got his health down past like 10% of the way. So I decided to leave for now and go take on Champion Gundyr instead.
He never returned.
And we already went over the first phase, so I won't bore you with that again. But the second phase, I stopped being a big old pussy and decided to learn how to parry a second phase, and it was super, super satisfying to learn how to do that. I was only able to parry one move, and that's when I was running away. He does his little spin attack, and you can parry him at the end of that. But all the other attacks, I could never really figure out. Like a lot of the other bosses, I got really greedy at the end and botched the last parry, but apparently he just could not handle the neutron style because I still got the dub. And now we finally get to the last boss, once again, the Smoldering himself, and this dude was extremely hard, honestly. At first, I would try to play his first phase super safe, just only getting a little bit of attacks whenever I could between his attacks, but after a while, that really wasn't working for me, especially because he can heal in one of his phases, and that was just really pissing me off. So eventually, I actually got greedy, and it actually worked for once, because I just started hitting him as much as I can, and he gets stunned pretty easily, and it only takes like good 5 or 6 hits with the shield to stun him. So once I figured that out, that's what I just stuck to, and that made the first phase way, way, way easier. And his second phase wasn't too much harder, honestly. I was almost able to beat it on my first try, but that's because I was kind of being a little bitch the whole time and just running away until he does his jump attack, roll in, get a hit, and then roll away. Sometimes I'd be the brave little toaster and run in and get a hit on him when he was doing his charge lightning attack, but that was basically it. But after a handful of tries, that was pretty much it. It wasn't too tough, probably one of the tougher fights in the game though, but the shield honestly isn't that bad of a weapon. It does a pretty decent amount of damage, especially once you get it all the way upgraded. The only real problem with it is it's super short range, but that's pretty much the only part that made this challenge kind of tough though. So yeah, you totally can beat Dark Souls 3 only using a shield. Not that you didn't already know that though. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it, especially if you made it this far. Maybe give this video a like or subscribe and all that jazz if you think I deserve it. But other than that, have a good day guys. Peace.